Hello, welcome to another UTS Startups Confessions. Oh, it's my favorite part of the week, until now, because Jade. So, technology enables a whole kind of suite of entrepreneurship that I find really interesting. It's why we do UTS Startups, that technology-enabled entrepreneurship is creating all these opportunities for people to do what they want to do and have wonderful impact and have wonderful kind of companies that they can build. And you're an incredible example of that.
Thank you.
For the people who may not know, and I suspect that's not many people, but in 10 seconds or so, Jade, what is Up and Atom?
So Up and Atom is a science YouTube channel. We make videos about physics, math and computer science, and the aim is to make these difficult topics accessible to people.
Okay, sounds incredibly hard.
It's pretty hard.
Okay.
It's pretty hard, yeah.
We'll try and make it more accessible though. So just going back, who were you before starting this?
So before I started, I was a physics grad, so just what is it called, like an undergrad. Had no experience in video or anything like that. Basically I just graduated and started the YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm sure there was a step in between there. You stroll out of UTS and I'm on YouTube now.
No, there actually wasn't.
Okay.
I just graduated and I was like, well, there's no job in physics I really want to do. Should I tell the story about how I got into it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, I started a physics degree having never done physics, so I didn't do physics in high school. So obviously, I was really behind my peers, and I was just so lost in the lectures all the time. Everything was so hard. So what I would do was I would just go home and watch YouTube videos to catch up and that kind of thing and just learn at my own pace. And I just thought, this is just a great way to learn, and I think it was, and still is, probably my favorite way to learn. And yeah, so I saw the need for it, and I saw how valuable it was, and I actually think I wouldn't have passed my degree without YouTube. So by the time I finished my degree, I had a pretty good idea of what made a good video. I knew how I learnt. I knew there were people that were doing it because I'd seen all these YouTubers making these videos about education, and I was pretty passionate about physics, and I also had a tutoring job at university, so I was like, oh, well, that seems like a pretty good mix. So yeah, I just started making YouTube videos on my smartphone.
Okay, so what did that look like? So you start putting videos up, you have an idea of what the right videos look like. But how did the kind of YouTube world react to those?
Yeah, so if you Google on YouTube, or if you search on YouTube how to start a YouTube channel, there are a lot of videos about how to start a YouTube channel, so that's just what I did. And one of the pieces of advice was when you upload like 4 or 5 videos at once. And so I was like, okay, well, I had to learn how to edit and how to record and all that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll keep it simple and I'll make a video about something I already know. And so I just made 4 videos about electricity. And 3 of them were very tutorially, like I was solving equations and solving problems and stuff. And one of them was just, what is electricity? And that one did the best in terms of views. I mean, it got 30 views, but I was like, well, it got more views than the other ones, which got maybe 5. And I was like, okay, well, I just kind of followed the views, and I was like, well, this seems to be what people like, at least from me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lean more popular rather than kind of solving equations and doing tutorials. So that's what, in the beginning, guided the path that I chose.
Okay. How do you know what's going to be popular?
You don't. You really don't. This is like a grievance that all YouTubers have. It's always such a gamble. But really, the best thing that you can do to find out is just make a lot of videos, a lot of different diverse videos, and the ones that don't do well, you just view them as data points. So you're just like, okay, my audience didn't like that kind of topic, I just won't do that topic again. And now I have a much better idea of what my audience likes, but I can still be quite off. I'll be thinking sometimes like, oh man, this video is definitely going to do really well. And then it's like, doesn't do as well as I think. And then I uploaded a video the other day or the other month that was like, what's the largest sofa that will fit around a corner? And it got so many views. And I was like, that was like a filler video. I thought that would be so boring. And then I recently uploaded a video about I visited the largest nuclear fusion reactor in the world, and it's just like not doing that good. And I was like, what? Like, it's the largest in the world. Anyway, so yeah, it's always a gamble.
It's depressing.
A bit. A bit.
People care about their couches.
It's pretty interesting, actually.
Please stay on the video until the end, because we've got the best bits at the end. How did you kind of sustain yourself through that kind of experimentation? Because that must have been hard of, continuing for long enough to figure out what really works.
Do you mean financially or like emotionally?
Both.
So financially, so I just lived with my parents. So after my uni degree, I didn't really have to worry about money and that kind of thing. Emotionally, yeah, it was pretty rough. Like first year, there were definitely a lot of breakdowns and a lot of just doubting and kind of wanting to give up. So actually, so what I did was I was like, okay, well, I'll go 3 years. I kind of had a cutoff point that I'm like, okay, after 3 years, if this is just still not looking promising, I'll try and find something else to do. And I felt like 3 years I really would have given it a go and I wouldn't have any regrets. Because I really just didn't want to have any regrets, like looking back and be like, oh, maybe I gave up too fast and that kind of thing. Also, after a year and a half, I still wasn't really making any money and I was working super hard and just really stressed all the time. So I did decide to quit YouTube and I got a job, a really, really good job at a science communication magazine. So it was right up my alley, like it's practically what I'm doing, and it was a really nice office and it was with really nice people. And I lasted 3 days just because I just hated it so much. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. And I just thought, okay, well, the worst day on YouTube is still better than like the best day in a normal job. So I kind of have like no choice but to just make it work on YouTube. And that was actually a really good experience because then I never had the whole like, oh, maybe life would just be easier if I just quit and stuff. Because like now it's like I know that it's just not. So yeah, that's kind of what sustained me, like complete disdain of the alternative.
But like people might say, like, why am I asking about that kind of thing? It's because like someone might be watching down this camera right now who's early in their journey and is trying to figure out how to sustain themselves as well. And like hearing that and hearing what's coming up about what comes next can hopefully help them continue. So going forward from there, when were the moments when you started to figure out, yes, this is working?
So I started trying to do, I'd heard that, those channels about how to grow a YouTube channel, they all suggest kind of doing collaborations, like with bigger YouTubers. So I decided to go to VidCon, which was in the US, and like do some networking, and I kind of like, not really made friends, but was friendly with some bigger YouTubers. And so I reached out to them afterwards and decided to ask to do a collaboration. And I always tried to make it worth their while. So for example, because collaborations are hard and some people want to just help, but a lot of people don't. They're busy, they have their own thing, like they're not just going to help someone if it means that their work is going to suffer or whatever. So I always tried to look for what would help them the most, and it's like YouTubers and basically any successful people, they're always lacking time. So if you can save them time, I think that's the best way to get them to help you. So with educational YouTube, the hardest thing is doing the research and writing the scripts. So there was this woman at the time who she had, I think, 800,000 subscribers, and I think I had maybe 8,000 subscribers. And so I was like to her, okay, if we do a collaboration, like you'll do a video and I'll do a video and I'll just write both scripts. So basically I just hand her the script and then she just has to make the video. And so every single time I've kind of done a collaboration, I've always tried to make it, keep the other person in mind, like how can I really incentivize them?
Yeah, why would anyone say no to that?
Yeah, it's saving them time.
Has that been a big part of the growth?
Yes, so collaborations have been a huge part. That's been the part that I can control, which is nice. There's the other part which I can't control, which is just when a video happens to do super, super well, and there's just like a lot of growth in a very small amount of time. So I think the biggest thing, so the growth is very spiky. It's like, it's not linear at all. It's just like this, which can be very, it can weigh you down a bit because there'll be like long periods that are just kind of a plateau. But then those moments, you learn the skills that you need to come to the point where all of a sudden you just shoot up,
And the other side of that, the monetization. So how did you start to address that as the audience was building?
So I got picked up by an agency. So first of all, I started a Patreon. I don't know if you guys know Patreon, but that's kind of like this crowdsourced funded thing. So I did that as soon as I could. And then, yeah, I got picked up by the agency, and now I do sponsorships, which is where most of my money comes from. Ads now, but at the time I was barely making any money from ads at all.
Okay. And was Patreon worth doing?
Oh yeah, do it. You have nothing to lose.
Okay.
Nothing to lose on Patreon. I would say start one as soon as you can. Don't feel guilty about asking people for money. If they don't want to give you money, they won't. Like, they're adults. Like.
It's probably a nice way to drive engagement from the most supportive people.
Yeah, people, I feel like the ones that do pledge, they like being a part of it. I honestly, I'm actually a really bad Patreon creator. I don't do anything. Like, a lot of creators will give gifts or do live streams and stuff like that. I don't do anything, and somehow people still keep donating. So, yeah.
They must like what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's probably a good sign that they're not requiring a lot to stay engaged.
I think so.
Yeah. Do you think, so that was 2016 you were starting.
Yeah.
Do you remember the reason that was kind of driving you at the start to do it? And does that apply to you today in what you do?
Yeah. So the reason was, so as I mentioned, I hadn't done physics before. So I just remember, I don't know, you can feel pretty stupid, like, when you don't know things. And also it's kind of like, if it's just not being explained in the right way, it's not exactly your fault. But you can start to just think like, this isn't for me, or physics and math isn't for me, my brain doesn't work that way, etc. Which I just think is such a shame, because during my physics degree, it's so good. Like, you learn the most amazing things, and it would just be such a shame if I didn't learn those things because I just thought that I couldn't, because it just wasn't explained in the right way. So yeah, I guess it's just like, and YouTube broke a lot of barriers for me just by explaining things in the right way. And I was like, wow, like, I would not have been able to appreciate how beautiful this principle was or something like that if it wasn't for this random person. And so I guess I'm just trying to do that for other people as well.
Okay.
So it definitely still applies.
So same reason, but you're seeing the impacts of that as well in those younger people going through doing the physics degree and watching your videos to understand what they're doing, plus all the other people that are not.
Yeah, sometimes I get comments that it's like, oh, I started a computer science degree after watching your videos and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Like, yeah.
Do you remember a moment when you looked at your life and said, okay, this is working, I'm happy now?
Yeah, so probably about 5 years in was just when I was starting to make, it took me a very long time to start making videos regularly. Like, some years I'd only make 3 or 4 videos just because I'd underestimate how long the research would take me. I still wasn't very fast or good at editing. There were always just some kind of setbacks. And then I think maybe 5 years in, I kind of got into a bit of a rhythm. I'd hired some people to help. I knew when a topic was too difficult, and I was like, okay, I just won't even attempt that. And so I was making a video maybe every 2 months, and the Patreon was going okay. About 5 years in.
Okay, so hitting your stride now. So can you talk a little bit about what it is today and where you see it going?
So now I'm at 670,000 subscribers and about 45 million views. I hope to grow. I hope maybe by the end of, by the end of the year, maybe 700,000. But mostly it's just in terms of growth. And really, I'm honestly just really happy what I'm doing. Like, if I could just keep doing this for the next 5 years, I would. I just really like it. So yeah, no plans to change anything.
How often do you see someone that can say that says, yes, I want to keep doing what I'm doing for the next 5 years or however long? It must be a wonderful thing.
It's so good. I really love it.
So if you could go back and talk to Jade 7 years ago, what would you tell her?
I'd just say be very prepared for the inconsistencies, because I think a lot in life, and for me, because I was quite like a studious student, like I tried pretty hard at university, it's this very linear payoff between effort and reward. So it's like, if you study a certain amount of hours and put in a certain amount of effort, you'll get a good mark. Like, that's kind of how it is, and that's how school is. This has not been like that at all. it's very much like you can work and work and work and on a video and no one will watch it, or it will just underperform. And then randomly a year later, someone tweets a different video and it just takes off, and it's just like, I didn't do anything for that, you know? And that was very, very difficult to deal with. So I would say just be prepared for the non-linearity and the spikiness of the journey. And I think that's pretty normal, actually. I think life is just like not linear.
I was going to say, do you think that's what life is?
I think so.
And class is just not reflective of life?
I think so, yeah. Definitely.
Okay, maybe we can change that. How has this kind of journey changed you as a person?
So I wouldn't describe myself as the most emotionally robust person, but I definitely have had to learn to be, because I used to let my entire mood be dictated by how my channel was doing and how my videos are doing. And it still gets to me, you know, when a video doesn't perform as well as I'd like it to, I still get sad, but I'm able to bounce back a lot faster and kind of focus on the big picture more, be less result driven. So I used to be very much like, oh, like gotta get those subscribers and those views and stuff like that. And now I try to more focus on like, yeah, just the journey of it and having a good time and always remembering why I'm doing it. So I think just having to become emotionally mature.
Okay, I'll get there one day. Sorry, last question is the recipe for success. If you had to look at the ingredients that you've had that have made you able to do this versus other people, what are your ingredients?
I would say the main thing is always try and put the responsibility of whatever happens back on yourself. So it's like, you know, you don't always have to blame yourself for everything that goes bad, but say, for example, you hire someone and they do a terrible job and the project goes crap, like rather than saying, oh, like, my project failed because of this person, it's like that doesn't give you any kind of control over what to do. I think a better way to look at it, and how I tend to try and look at things, is just like, what can I do different? Like, what did I do wrong in that situation? Like, what can I do next time to maybe not hire someone like that? Like, use a different website, or maybe they would have been better in a different role. And it's kind of hard, because then you just feel like you're constantly kind of crap at doing everything. But then the kind of payoff is that, well, you do get better at doing things, and yeah, you kind of just focus on what you can control, like as much as you can.
Okay. We'll start to wrap up there. For anyone watching or anyone in the room, there might be an opportunity to work with you, is that right? Okay, could you do a call out for who you're looking for? Because like, having heard this story, I think you'll agree, like I can't imagine a better opportunity for someone coming out of university, but who are you looking for at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm looking for a research assistant, so I can make videos faster. At the moment, I'm on one a month, and I would like to make that more frequent. So I need someone with a strong either physics, math, or computer science background, preferably someone who has experience or is passionate about communication, because that's very important. And it would be good if you kind of watch YouTube videos, educational YouTube videos. Yeah, so you kind of know what to expect.
Okay, again, sounds like a wonderful opportunity. And I'll also do a call out, because having you as part of UTS Startups as a member here is an incredible thing.
Thank you.
So more people in the content creation space would be fantastic. I think if you're watching this and thinking about UTS Startups, come on down. We'll pause there for two reasons. We're going to do a private Q&A that we'll turn off the camera for, but if you are able to make it down every Friday at 3:30, we run these, and the juicy kind of questions come out then. And because I want to see how large a couch we can get up the stairs behind me here, but we'll turn off the cameras for that. And please join me for now in thanking the incredible Jade.